Hello and greetings, darlings. I'm excited to be here live with you tonight. It's my very first live stream. Oh, I cannot believe that I'm here. I'm excited to see you in the chat already typing away. So where are we coming from? I know I am new to this, so there's a 15-second delay. So I'm wasting time, but I already see Texas. I see Alabama. I see someone saying, hello everybody, Kindle Von Doom. What a lovely last name. Oh, yes. Anyway, yes, here from Florida. Oh, how exciting. Anyway, I'm here in small-town suburbia, and I want to welcome you all to this Friendsgiving. There is one commonality that Doomitra has with all Americans, and that is that I failed geography in my homeland. So, I don't know exactly where Florida, Alabama, or Texas is, but Virginia, welcome. Oh, that's lovely. I don't know, but anyway, we'll just move on. The air is crisp here, and the house is full of the scent of apple cider simmering away. I simmered it all day, and it's now resting in the cauldron over here, just to keep it nice and warm and spicy. I've already tucked in. Were you all able to take advantage of that cider recipe? It's quite delicious and so easy for entertaining. Anyway, cheers to fall in this cozy season that all of these suburbanites rail about all the time. Let's see, Chicago. Hello from Boston. Oh, and thank you, darling. I appreciate the comment about my beauty. I work very hard, lots of hours of soaking in the moonlight, washing in waters, and applying baby oils to my face. Anyway, I went to the Goodwill the other day, and I found something really exciting that I think you all would like. It is the Suburban Publix Pilgrims. They're kind of horrifying, but they salt and pepper shakers. I know pilgrims are a little problematic in today's, day and age, but I rather like the idea of their annual subservience to seasoning my mashed potatoes. How delightful. Anyway. Here we go. Gotta love American consumerism, right? Well, Thanksgiving is always a weird time for me. People want to hang out, discuss this sports ball, turkey pardons as well, and they insist on discussing the latest Hallmark Channel Christmas movies that have been running since August. To each their own, I suppose. The theme of this glorious holiday is about thanks, and it is now time that I need to address thanks for you. For all of my supporters. I have been thrilled by the outpouring of support for the Doomitra show this season. It's been very exciting to track, and I cannot wait to see where we're going next. I very much look forward to continuing to grow as an individual, expand my brand, as they say, and do new things. Now, with the theme of this American holiday, I give thanks to you, of course. And there's an old wise Mama Yaga saying for it. One spoon may not stir the pot, but many together can cook a feast. Isn't that delightful? So, thank you, my darlings, for being the many spoons that stir Doomitra's cauldron of chaos. Yes. In regard to the Doomitra show, I know what you all might be wondering. Please address the cliffhanger from season 1. Well, unfortunately, not today. We will have to wait for the second season to close those threads and tidy up all of those remaining plot points. But believe me, you're gonna love it. Anyway, in the meantime, let's celebrate and do what folks do around this time of year. Make a cocktail! For those who would like to follow along, do you have your supplies out there? If not, this would be a great time to go and grab them. Today, I am making one of my all-time favorite cocktails. It is called the Black Manhattan. Oh, wait for it. A boom. Anyway, I inherited my taste in libations from Mama Yaga. Manhattans are her go-to drink of choice, and boy can she down them. The recipe is fairly simple and satisfying for many. It's a little darker and ritual than the typical Manhattan, and substitutes the vermouth for this very tasty Amaro, which is a bitter herbal liqueur. Anyway, here's the recipe. Boom. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my ice. I'll be right back. For those of you that are coming along with me on this journey of cocktail making, what you want to do is grab your cocktail glass, place a little bit of ice inside of it, and you're going to pour some water directly into your glass, and we're just going to let that sit aside. While that chills, I'm gonna go over here and mix the rest of the cocktail. But you mix 2.5 ounces of your rye whiskey, 1 ounce of your delicious Amaro, you take 1 dash of orange bitters, and then 2 to 3 dashes of another bitters of your choice. I'm using black walnut bitters tonight. If you would like it slightly sweeter, put in a little bit of the cherry juice. If you want it a little drier, omit the cherry juice entirely. I'll be right back. Oh, got my shaker. Tonight I'm using Sagamore rye. It's got a nice taste to it, nice clean, good Manhattan with it. So 2.5 ounces. Okay, there's 2. And a little heavy poured, half. Okay. And here I have my Averna Amaro. The Averna Amaro has a delicious, very herbal mix of spicy things going on. And then it has this underlying orange peel, citrusy vibe. It'll pair quite nice with that rye whiskey. One dash of my orange bitters. Two to 3 dashes of my black walnut. And I like just a little bit of cherry syrup. But this is an important thing. Never use maraschino cherries. You got to use a little fancy cherry. One of the dark cherries. These are Luxardo cherries, which have been soaked in brandy. Alright, just popping the top on my shaker from Chili's, and I'm going to shake it for 15 to 25 seconds. Alright, darlings. Well, cheers to all of you and happy Friendsgiving tonight on this day of live streaming. I hope you enjoy the cocktail as we sip along and learn about our friends and their troubles around Thanksgiving. Oh, that hits the spot. Yes, it does. Oh. Nothing tastes more comforting than a Black Manhattan for me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get rid of the recipe here, and we'll move on. I'm a little out of breath from running around shaking that cocktail. Anyway, now let's go to the meat of the live stream today. Welcome to Ask Doomitra, Thanksgiving edition. I'm very excited to answer some of your questions and comments and concerns about your family and about issues surrounding the dinner table on Thanksgiving. Thanks in advance to those who submitted these questions. I have gathered my thoughts and am prepared to provide you some responses. Don't worry about jotting down notes because the live stream will be published on my YouTube channel after the broadcast. So you can go back and watch it as much as you'd like. Let me see, let me just check in with the chat. Hollywood should make better Thanksgiving films. Perhaps featuring yours truly. Should that be my pitch? That's how I'm gonna make it big. Thanksgiving specials. I like it. Anyway, here we go. We have the first question. This is from a YouTube subscriber. I will bring it up for you. We have Jack-by7BR. He asks, "Hi Doomitra, how should I deal with family members asking me why I am not married yet? It's a question that always comes up and I never know exactly how to respond to it." Whew, yes, I feel your pain, my love-struck, or not, friend. It reminds me of my own family gatherings back home. Every winter during the gathering of the ancestors, my entire extended family, I'm talking everyone from cousins to second cousins twice removed, would pile into our house without fail, and the interrogations would start. The most relentless of all was my great-aunt Krasna. Her matchmaking powers were as strong as her belief that no one is truly as happy. The Manhattan's already gotten to me. Oops. Her matchmaking powers were as strong as her belief that no one is truly happy until they're hand-fasting with a farmer. Or, you know, a good cheese wheeler. The Sinasteras and cheese go way back, and it was a recurring family thing. I'll answer more about it in season 2. So, Doomitra, she'd say, raising an eyebrow and wagging her teacup in my direction. Still no suitor? Worthy of the Sinastera name? What happened to that nice boy with the 6 cows? Ugh, the horror. I don't want a cowboy or a cheese wheeler. Yes, but fear not. Here are a few strategies I've prepared that you might find handy. This one I like is the stranger in the woods gambit. Create a romantic interest, so mysterious and bizarre that no one dare ask you questions. Oh, there is someone I met on a moonlit night near the Whispering Pines. He's a poet, lives off the land, and never removes his cloak. They'll be too caught off guard to press any further. Just shrug and look wistfully at your mashed potatoes and say, you wouldn't understand. You know? If that doesn't work, you can always throw it back at them, Sinastera style. Sometimes I'd meet Krasna's questions with questions of my own. Like, Aunt Krasna, what was it that first drew you to Uncle Boris? The smell of his goats, or his fine beet preserves? She'd look at me with eyes wide and quickly change the subject, asking pesky family members about their own relationship adventures is wonderfully deflective. Anyway, remember, my dear, Thanksgiving is temporary, but the legends of our singlehood can live on forever. So walk into that room with confidence, and let them know you're a person of mystery and intrigue who cannot be bound by mere matrimony. For now, anyway. Question number 2. Let me bring it up. This is from an anonymous fan. It says, Doomitra, I am desperate. Every Thanksgiving, my cousin brings his guitar and insists on playing the same 5 songs very badly. He won't take a hint. Is there any way to stop the concert without causing a family feud? Oh, my poor musically tortured friend. You have my deepest sympathies. It sounds like your cousin's musical enthusiasm, shall we say, is as relentless as our neighborhood's bagpipe ghost. That's right, we have a ghost that plays bagpipes back home. He just plays the same dirges time and time and time again. You would think with all of those hundreds of years of being dead that he could learn at least a new melody. Anyway, but fear not. Here are some, shall we say, unconventional strategies I've perfected for silencing relentless music makers without outright banishment. This one's fun. I like to unleash the curse of the dance. If you are, I don't know, if you enjoy dancing around and flailing and using your body to express things, this one could be the one for you. When your cousin starts playing, you stand up and abruptly just make a horrified face and yell, "No, no, no, not the music." And then, this is where the magic happens. You have to say, "It makes me dance uncontrollably." And then you just have to start going. Launch into a wild, unhinged dance routine around the room. Channel your inner Doomitra and just let it fly. Just go for it. Just, arms, heads, everything. Everything at once. That's how I like to do it. Don't hold back. You flail, you twirl, do a lopsided tango with the chair. Just really unnerve people. That will be the key to the success of this. You keep dancing until he stops playing. That's what you enter into. He plays, you dances, until he stops. When he inevitably pauses out of shock, give a long sigh of relief, wipe your brow dramatically, and then just whisper, "Thank heavens I'm free." He'll think twice about strumming that guitar if he believes it's going to spark your possessed interpretive dance every time. That is one thing if you're very out there and expressive and excited, an extrovert. But if you are an introvert, here is the best thing to do. It's the mysterious disappearance act. This one's straightforward, but highly effective. Whenever your cousin starts up with his 5-song setlist, act as though he has summoned you to a strange trance. Stare off into the distance and whisper, "Ah, the call of the old forest," and walk away. That's really it. You vanish into the nearest closet, slip behind the curtain, hide underneath the table, whatever it takes. If he follows you and tries playing in your new hiding spot, simply utter, "The spirits have led me to commune in silence." Lock the door if you can. Soon he'll tire of the chase and give up entirely. At least that's the hope. Remember, dear friend, family is forever, but an untrained musician with 5 songs feels like an eternity. Try one of these tricks and maybe the spirits of silent dinners and unplayed guitars will protect you. And worst case, keep a pair of earplugs. Our next question, we're zooming right along. This one comes from Joe Devine on Facebook. He says, "Dear Doomitra, my mom is in her 70s, and she has always been a spitfire, but now she is getting weak and frail at her age. Her body is aging, but her attitude is still there. This has gotten even worse as of late. She has a broad rage, and she is ready to fight someone if they accidentally bump her in the store. How do I convince her to calm the hell down?" Good question, Joe, and my sympathies to you. My dear, it sounds like your mother is what we call in my homeland a fire willow. A little crooked and aged on the outside, but still burning bright on the inside. You have my respect and condolences. I know this energy well. It reminds me of my grandmother, Mama Yaga, who once chased a grown man out of the village square with nothing but a broom and a jar of pickled beets because he dared question her beet fermenting technique. But fear not, you're not alone in the managing of this fiery spirit. I have some advice that should help keep her inner blaze from turning into a wildfire, and hopefully protect a few unsuspecting strangers along the way. Let's see, I'm going to get a sip. Now, number one, I like to prefer to channel fire elsewhere when dealing with Mama Yaga. If her attitude is still roaring but her body is slowing down, you find her a target that isn't a poor soul in the next car over. Back home, when Mama Yaga got riled up, we would give her a cauldron to stir. We told her the recipe was cursed, and it kept her busy. It made her feel important. For your mom, perhaps try something like giving her a hobby that matches her energy. Like boxing, or smashing old dishes for art. Don't laugh. Smashing ceramics is deeply satisfying. Don't knock it till you try it. We call it frustration pottery. It's very therapeutic. Now, if that doesn't work, you might start suggesting a role-playing scenario where she becomes a secret protector of the grocery store. Could work. If someone bumps her, instead of rage, she can inspect them, like a cool undercover operative. Her fiery nature will perhaps love the drama, but the poor stranger won't end up fearing for their life. At least that's a hope. The bonus is that you can tell her she is protecting her territory. My grandmother loved this phrase. She would go around and start making notes in the grocery store just to keep her from, whacking someone over the head or spilling something in the aisle out of frustration and rage. Something to try. The other thing you can do is try to redirect the rage with some humor. Sometimes all a Spitfire needs is a mirror to see just how over the top they are being. But subtly, so they don't really get mad. The next time she's about to lose it on someone who bumped her, try channeling your inner dramatic narrator and say something like, "Oh no, Mother, don't summon the ancient family rage. You swore you'd keep it hidden." Something like that. Or you could dramatically hand her a rolled up receipt and say, "Here, take this mighty scroll and exact your justice." She might quite like it. If you can get her to laugh, even for a split second, it might be enough to disarm her, so she lets go of the moment. You could always leverage her Spitfireness for good. If calming her down completely is not an option, consider leaning into a natural fierceness, but for a purpose. Ask her for help defending you in a hypothetical situation. Say something like, "Mom, if you want to fight someone, let's focus that energy. If anyone in the store tries to shame my snack choices, I need you to unleash your road rage on them instead." Redirection. And I get to buy my Twinkies without judgment. Anyway, the final thought is a gentle reminder with love. If all else fails, just take her hand, look her in the eye, and say, "Mom, your fire is what makes you, you, and I love that. But your body deserves peace now. Save that fire for the things that really matter. Like taking the last slice of pie before Uncle Larry gets it." Trust me, my dear, even the fiercest fire willow has roots that can be grounded. And hey, worst case? Carry a spray bottle of water. Works on unruly cats and Spitfire moms alike. Good luck! Okay, now we have a much needed break here coming up. But this is something that I have not made publicly, announced on any of the social medias. But I have merchandise. This is one of my mugs. It has my face on it. Do you see that? Oh my god, it's lovely. It has a black interior. You can get it in all sorts of colors. And on the back, it says, "Happy Halloween, darlings." I know it's not Halloween, but I like to celebrate year-round. So if you like this, there's plenty more. There's plenty more. also, I have t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies, but they have my face on it too. Isn't that fun? My face is on the back, or the front, and then on the back it says The Doomitra Show in some nice fun monster font. Oh, just delightful. Anyway, if you want any of that, here, let me drop the link in the chat. I'm going to copy that and go over here. Merch. Here it is. Boom. Here we go. Now, this would be a great time to go to use the restroom, refresh your drink, whatever you need, so we can continue going after the short little break. All right, let me make sure the link is right. Okay, so my shop is on Printify. So if you go to the-doomitra-shop.printify.me, then you'll be able to find my merch. It is also linked in my YouTube channel, so you can head to it there as well. I even have a little dangly snowflake if you want to put me on your Christmas tree, or menorah, or just hang me off of a present, or just put me on your candle altar. All of those will be appropriate. Anyway, I'm very excited to be here with you all, and I'm thrilled that you are enjoying yourself in the chat here. Merch buying for sure, I see. Thank you, thank you. If you want something for your friends, introduce them to me. Send them a little bit of merch and say, you need to watch this, bitch. I would very much appreciate. Anyway, I'm going to take another sip now. Yep, going right on my summoning altar. Fabulous, Frank Cooney. I really appreciate. You're making me blush. Anyway, how are the drinks of choice treating you all out there? Did we have the cider? Did we have the cocktail? What do we think? Do we appreciate the Black Manhattans? And thank you, Rock and Roll Kid. I very much appreciate. And hello, Paola. It's nice to meet you. Okay, we're now going to go back into our questions. Welcome to Ask Doomitra, Part 2. And yes, the cocktail is very strong. If it is too strong for you, try shaking it a little bit longer with the ice, so it melts a little bit. You can also pour the cocktail over ice, and so the ice will gently seep into it and weaken it just a hair. So, for part 2 of our questions, here we go. We have Julie Howard from Facebook. She asked 2 different questions that I'll keep up for the entirety of this. Her first question is, what was your favorite holiday dish that Mama Yaga made that you'll add to your own Thanksgiving? Spin. Oh, this is exciting. What a deliciously nostalgic question for our Friendsgiving. My favorite holiday dish from Mama Yaga's kitchen? Well, that would have to be her famous ghostly root stew with haunted dumplings. Yes, it sounds spooky, but it was chef's kiss perfection. Warm, hearty, and just the tad bit unsettling. Perfect for winter nights when the wind howled through the pines, like a pack of mournful spirits. Oh, I really liked the winters back home. It's not so much like that here in the US of A. Still waiting for those mournful spirits to be whispering through the pines. Does anyone know where I can find this in the Americas? Drop it in the comments and I might return to it. Now, you might be wondering, Doomitra, how can I make a haunted stew that's fit for a Thanksgiving feast? Well, my darling, let me tell you how I'm putting my own spin on it. When haunted vegetables are really hard to come by, you know. Something that will make your guests scream in either delight or just scream in terror. I would really like them to do the latter. I don't know if you saw my centerpiece from Halloween, but you know I'd really like to unnerve my guests anytime I host them. Anyway, back to Mama Yaga's ghostly root stew. This is the Thanksgiving edition. You always start with the root of the forest. Mama Yaga used enchanted root vegetables like turnips, parsnips, and the shadow carrots. Don't ask. But I'll swap those for Thanksgiving classics. You could use sweet potato, butternut squash, and one single rogue purple carrot. That way it keeps the surprise alive in the dish. Then you add the mist of the moor broth. Back home, Mama Yaga swore by her bone broth, simmered with the essence of fog. I improvised with turkey stock and a splash of smoked paprika for that hauntingly smoky flavor. It tastes like a campfire and a seance, all tied into one. It's nice. I really like smoked paprika. You can put it on eggs. You can put it on anything, really. I've encountered grits while being here in the United States. I love grits. I admit it. I love grits. Oh my god. Once you have your smoked paprika broth simmering away, I do dumplings, but with a twist. Here are her famous dumplings. Mama Yaga shaped hers into little skulls that would terrify the guests and neighborhoods alike. And it really entertained herself. She had a great wry sense of humor, just like my cocktail. And she would, for Thanksgiving, make these little skull heads into little turkey skulls. So it had a turkey skull dumpling floating along in the broth. I really liked them. I would always eat all of them. Just, watch out because Doomitra is going to eat your dumplings. Anyway, you would just carve out little wings with a knife, and you would just leave them floating like little gobblers in your stew. Festive, right? I think so. The last thing is the secret ingredient, which is the whispering herb. Mama Yaga always said every stew needs a whisper of mystery. So she added these herbs that she found in the forest, which I presume were normal herbs, I hope. But my spin, you take fresh sage, thyme, and just a pinch of nutmeg. And sprinkle it over. Just a pinch though, it's quite strong and hallucinogenic for those of you who don't know. Eat enough of it and you'll see pixies. Don't do that. I don't advise to do this, but it does happen. Anyway, not too much, or you might summon an entirely different vibe in your stew, and not the good kind, at Thanksgiving feast. The presentation, though, is the most important part. Mama Yaga never served anything plain. Oh, no. Theatrics were half the meal. For Thanksgiving, I served my version of the ghostly root stew in a hollowed-out pumpkin. You make a bowl with the pumpkin, and then you can have tendrils of dry ice curling around it. Just don't put the dry ice in the stew, because that's really a health hazard. But you can put the dry ice around the stew, so it creates a fog on your tablescape. I'm all about the tablescapes. Oh my gosh, I love a tablescape. Anyway, nothing says grateful for family like making your food look vaguely cursed. Anyway, why is it my favorite? This dish is my favorite because it's more than just a stew. It's a story. Every bite tastes like sitting by Mama Yaga's hearth, listening to her tell tales of the whispering pines, while the stew bubbled on her iron cauldron. Sure, she'd occasionally toss in an ingredient without explanation. Once it was a glowing beet. I didn't ask, but it was part of the magic and tasted delicious. I love Mama Yaga. Anyway, for your Thanksgiving, my friend, dear Julie, try your own twist on the stew. And what you love most, whether it's herbs from the garden, a dollop of cream for richness, or a touch of chili for heat, which I love. Just remember, Mama Yaga's golden rule, every dish is better with a dash of mystery. Take that, Emerald Lagasse. Anyway, bon appetit, my friend, and may your feast be hauntingly delicious. Yes. Now, let's see. The chat is going insane. Let's see. Oh, yes. Mojito? Frank Cooney? Never. Never. No mojito anywhere. La Croix can go away. Their mojito burned me, and I will never buy their products again. You know what I prefer instead? Spindrift. I love Spindrift. It's citrusy, it's great, it's watery, it's juicy. I love it. I love it. Spindrift is where it's at. Screw La Croix. Oh yes, the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Ooh, I will have to visit it. Absolutely. It is very haunted. Yes, and James Perkins, thank you for adding this in. The Stanley Hotel too. Oh. 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 The Shining. Yes. I love The Shining. A hotel. It's haunted. I might go stay there during winter break. You know, a little, vacation for myself where I can just be with my thoughts and the spirits that encapsulate the place. I would love doing that. I can tell you I've actually been to the St. Augustine Lighthouse. It is quite a hike. It's very high up, and you have to keep spiraling up and up and up and up and up and up. And I believe they dropped a cat off of it or something. I don't know. It was like one of the people that was staying there, that was a little boy that didn't know any better. He threw the cat off of the top of the lighthouse with a parachute. I think the cat survived, which is wild, but I don't think he was very friendly after that experience. I would have rather dropped the little boy off the lighthouse. Anyway. No, the St. Augustine Lighthouse is delightful. If you ever get a chance to go there, there's a really nice little old alleyway that you can go down that has all sorts of shops and food and drink and fun things. Lots of delicious seafood, which, in my home country was hard to come by. We just had lake fish, which lake fish are not as good as sea fish. Doomitra is saying this. She has an opinion. Sea fish are where it's at. Sorry, lake people. But yes, St. Augustine is the place to get that. Little shrimp, lobster rolls, all sorts of things. It's amazing. Have I had any further issues with the HOA? Well, since my unfortunate debacle at the midnight soiree that I was hosting, I have not attempted to contact them since then. But I will let you know the moment that I hear anything from Cheryl. She's been quiet, the recluse. She's just been staying in her house, and every time I see her outside, she quickly scurries away indoors. And I think she's just a little afraid to see me. And she doesn't want to be invited to another soiree. Not that she knows what happens, but I don't know. She's a bit of a recluse. She likes to make her HOA protocols and, demand people do things, and then she likes to hide in her house. I might give her some cookies. What? No, I might give her some cookies. There we go. For Krampusnacht, which is coming up on December 5th. It's a very exciting time. I love it. Where Krampus visits the villages and takes away children who have been unruly. I was never taken away by Krampus, but I always wanted to see him. So I'd stay up late and look out the window and just see whenever Jingle Bells would start happening, what was going on outside. But anyway, on the 5th of December, if you hear Jingle Bells, it's not St. Nicholas. It's Krampus. He's coming for you. Do I like going through haunted corn mazes? Here is a weird admission. I have never been in one. I have been in regular hedge mazes, which are amazing. I love them. They are very confusing, and oh my god, I was almost stuck in one in Virginia. I don't know if you've ever been to Luray Caverns, but they have this beautiful hedge maze that has about, I don't know, 12 to 15 foot hedges, and you have to wander around in it and find these 4 stations that give you a clue as to what's happening in the hedge maze. So it's a big mystery that you have to unravel, which I love. But yes, I was completely taken aback because it took me forever to navigate it. I thought that I could, like, say an enchantment or something to keep it, like, under 30 minutes, but it ended up taking me like an hour to navigate through and to find my way out. But then, on my way of finding my way out, I realized that I didn't get all of the clues to let me know what the whole thing was about. So I had to go back into the maze. And then I had to, keep winding around, keep tracking all the way through. I went all the way back through the end, all the way to the beginning, and then made it all the way back to the end, and then just kept ping-ponging, trying to find these things. And oh my god, it was such a brain teaser for me. I loved it. I would build one in my backyard. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do a corn maze. I would love to do a corn maze. Oh, I see. Norse Code, you live near Luray Caverns. Well, welcome. I've been there. Anyway, if I'm ever back, I'll make sure to hit you up. Have I ever visited Salem, Massachusetts? Of course. Duh. Yes, I am, witchy myself. But yes, I love Salem. It was a really fun experience. I went on one of those tours that was a history of witches in the area. I feel sorry for all the witches that have perished due to, well, the Puritans. Anyway, there's lots of glorious sculptures there. There's little witchy sculptures, there's little homages to things, there's shops, there's delicious places to eat. They also have tons of seafood. I really like seafood, I'm realizing. But yes, Salem, Massachusetts, I'd highly encourage. When I was there, I stayed in this little hut that was an old carriage house that had these glorious bay windows on the 2nd floor that overlooked a graveyard. Oh, it was so romantic. I mean, I didn't have anyone to share it with, but, the spirits of the graveyard is who I was there with. And they kept me company, and it was great. I loved it. You should do it. Salem for life. Yes, thank you. Anyway, let's get back to our questions. I know, Julie, we have kept you waiting through this little break. I'm going to have one more sip and then we'll answer question 2. Now, getting to our question. What do you recommend doing about those relatives that get a little tipsy at the dinner table? I feel personally attacked. No, I like to get a little tipsy at Thanksgiving. It helps me deal with family. I'm not condoning the act, but, But every family has them. The tipsy relatives who turn Thanksgiving dinner into their own personal comedy. Me? Or tragedy. But back in my homeland, we called this the Vlad effect, named after my uncle, Vladimir, who could never handle the elderberry wine at dinner time during Thanksgiving. One moment he was charming, telling us stories of his heroic cheese-hauling days. The next, he was trying to convince the family goat to join him in a waltz. I would oftentimes, allow the goat to go back to rest and take the place of the waltzing because I like dancing. But, Vladimir, he was a lot to handle. So, what is a gracious host to do when the wine flows a bit, just a bit, too freely? Here are a few of my tried and true strategies, inspired by many a chaotic holiday at Mama Yaga's table. She would always host. So, this one I love. This is the cheese wall method. You've heard of building bridges, but it's time to build walls. Of food, Specifically, if you sense Cousin Jerry getting a bit too fond of the spiked cider, casually pass him the cheese platter. Then the rolls, then more cheese, then more rolls. You know, just keep piling on the carbs. The heavier the stomach, the slower the wine can work its magic. The bonus, nobody's ever thrown a scene while gnawing on a baguette. I love baguettes. If I could eat bread all day, I would. Anyway, Mama Yaga always said, the best way to soak up spirits is to feed them something solid. It's good advice to live by, right? She wasn't wrong. She also once fed Uncle Vlad an entire loaf of sourdough to keep him from reciting the poetry to the chandelier. So trust the carbs, you know. He really got obsessed with the chandelier that year. He stood on the table, he kicked food off the table, and started to recite his poetry. It wasn't even good. Anyway, if that doesn't work, you can always do a spirit swap. This one's pure mischief, and I think Mama Yaga would approve. If you're the poorer, keep a bucket, or a backup decanter rather, filled with something non-alcoholic. Either that cider recipe that I gave you earlier, or something sparkling, if it's sparkling wine, something that can kind of, you know, imitate. When you notice that Aunt Clara is slurring her compliments about your sweet potato casserole, offer to freshen her drink. You know? Then pour from the decanter and watch the magic happen. She'll think she's continuing the party, but really she's just hydrating. Win-win. Speaking of which, hydration. Hydration is the key to existence. You must keep it. Keep hydrating, people. Anyway, warning. This is a warning. If you try this with someone who has this refined palate, you know, like the cousin who's the self-declared wine expert or connoisseur, you may need to feign surprise or something when they detect floral notes of the grape Kool-Aid that you are pouring them. The other thing you can do is create a distraction zone. This one I love. Sometimes the best way to manage tipsy relatives is to redirect the energy entirely. You can set up a designated chaos zone away from all of the other attendees at the dinner table. A cozy nook with comfy chairs, maybe a board game, or if you're really brave, a karaoke machine, but maybe keep that a couple rooms over. Say something like, Uncle Tony, your rendition of Total Eclipse of the Heart is legendary. The mic is waiting for you. 3 rooms over. Can you go recite this for us? Gently guide him away from the mashed potatoes before he accidentally baptizes them with the Cabernet. Back home we call this tactic the goat diversion, where you'd hand the most excitable guest a task to keep them busy. Usually feeding the goat, or tending to a mysteriously bubbling pot. You know, something to distract the mind that is overwhelmed with libation. If all else fails, you can summon the spirits, the other kind. When subtlety doesn't work, it's time to get creative. Once, when Uncle Vlad started reenacting the entire battle from his youth using soup ladles and swords, Mama Yaga dimmed the lights just a bit and said, in her most dramatic voice possible, "The spirits are watching! They disapprove of your drunken shenanigans!" The room went silent. Vlad immediately sat down, muttering apologies to the ghost for his great-grandmother. You can adapt this tactic with your own flair, perhaps stage a sudden mysterious power flicker with the sound effect. It makes it, you know, it really sells it. Or pull an old heirloom and whisper ominously, "This belonged to our ancestor who frowned upon too much merriment." People might stop drinking out of fear that Ghost Aunt will haunt them in their dreams. Could you imagine Aunt Krasna coming back in my dreams? Oh my god, I'm terrified. The final thoughts on this is love them, laugh with them, and let it be. At the end of the day, tipsy relatives are a part of the holiday. Chaos, that ensues with the holiday. If you can't fully stop their antics, try to lean into the humor of it all. After all, it's not Thanksgiving without someone getting a little carried away. Embrace the moments. Take lots of pictures. Blackmail material for next year. And remember, you can always go check on dessert if things get too rowdy. May your table be full, Julie. May your wine glasses be manageable. And may your mashed potatoes stay safe from the drunken spills. Cheers. All right. Now, we have one more question here. Another one from an anonymous fan. Doomitra, I need your help. My family is very opinionated about what I am doing with my life, and they just don't understand my creative dreams. Every Thanksgiving, I end up defending my choices to one aunt or another. How do I get them just to accept me as I am? Ugh, I know this one well. Trust me, my dear creative soul, you and I are kindred spirits. If you saw the season, you know I love all things artistic. Dancing, drawing, painting, storytelling, all of it. Everything. Huge supporter of the arts here. Well, I remember the day I announced I wanted to be an artist instead of carrying on my family legacy of cheesemaking. My mother, Bogdana, looked at me as though I just suggested we make cheese out of pine cones. I don't know if that can happen scientifically, but my family didn't understand my artistic ambitions at all. Now, when it comes to your family's opinions, remember, this is just like taming the wild cows in my homeland. Relentless, noisy, and somehow always in your face. But here's how I handled it. And you might just find it useful. Show, don't tell. Instead of arguing, give them a small gift. A little present that showcases your creativity at the dinner table. Just like I used to paint beautiful forest scenes on the cheese. Even though my mother would scowl about it. You create something small and thoughtful that they can admire and cherish as a piece of art. A clever poem or a photo. When they see that talent, they might stop questioning why and start appreciating what you are creating. It's worth a shot. If that doesn't go, maybe just lean into the magic of polite persistence, as I like to say. Every family has a Bogdana. I hope she's not on here. I don't see her in the chat, so hopefully not. And hopefully that damn Lavinia isn't here either. I don't see her. No? Okay. Every family has a Bogdana, though. One who just won't be convinced, no matter what. In these cases, stand your ground gently but firmly. Keep replying with, I love what I do, and I wouldn't change anything. Just like that, I used to reply to my mother. Yes, Mama, I know the cheese is calling, but so is my brush. It drove her mad. However, it worked. Remember, if all else fails, excuse yourself to check on something in the basement. No one ever follows you into the basement. Anyway, family might be opinionated, but at least they're usually willing to let you take a break if it sounds mysterious enough. Happy Thanksgiving, and may your creativity shine through all the noise. All right, that closes out those questions. Now, let me see what's happening in the chat. But where's Mr. FedEx Man? This is the question, isn't it? Unfortunately, I will not reveal where he is. You'll have to wait until season 2 to find out. But it's gonna be great. Now, the cheese is always calling. I do like eating cheese. I don't like making it, but I love eating it. A cheese platter and some wine, that is my dinner. I am good to go. I highly encourage you to try it. Anyway, let me see. What is happening? Oh, why thank you, Blu-ray disc, J. James. Some excellent advice there. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that it's working. I'm glad that people are listening and taking in all of what I have to say. I feel like I'm rambling a bit. I would like to see your faces. Unfortunately, I can't, given the setup, but I really appreciate the chat. Oh, visiting Sleepy Hollow next Halloween. I definitely will have to take that into consideration. I've heard they put on a festival of pumpkins, where they set pumpkins ablaze, much similar to my melon festival, and how these pageant winners, clad in melon husk bikinis, just strut their way down the lane. I've heard this happens up near Sleepy Hollow, but with pumpkins, without the nude people with the melon husks. I don't know. I will have to compare these festivals to see which one reigns supreme. Now, for the future, and as a closeout to our event here, as Doomitra is over, I really appreciate the questions that people submitted. I am always open to doing this again and answering more of your questions. Perhaps I will do one in the near future, and I will definitely make sure you know about it, so you can submit your questions and I will respond appropriately. Thank you to those lovely and appropriate holiday-centered questions that were submitted this time. I hope you all have some takeaways from our time together. Before we go, I want to let you in on my December plans. As you all took the time to show up here, to spend time on this Thursday night, in this vaguely autumnal experience, at least for me. Hopefully some of you are not, shoveling snow already. I'll be the first, well, rather, you are the first that I will be letting know about my plans. I will have a 3-part December special entitled Doomitra's Very Merry Scary Christmas. I'm so excited about this. It'll be released on YouTube, and I will be sharing some of my favorite twisted winter lore, because what good is a holiday without a little terror? Anyway, the first episode is set to drop on Krampusnacht on December 5th. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be so exciting. If the date can tell you anything, that might key you in as to what the topic will be that will be discussed. Anyway, you don't want to miss it. Make sure you keep it in your calendars. December 5th is when it's dropping, and I'm so thrilled about it. Till then, my darlings, gorge on your family recipes, sweets, and alcohol, if you're drinking it. Cheers, and happy Thanksgiving. And rest in pieces. This has been delightful. Happy Thanksgiving.